Okay, so let's move to... We've got some big games this week. I mean, to move a little bit away from the Eagles, we've got some playoff implications going on in the NFL with our last week. The big one is the AFC wildcard. You've got the Jets and the Steelers. They're the main two. Jets win and they're in. If the Jets lose, Steelers win, they're in. First question I'm going to ask you, Mark. Out of the two, better chance to make the playoffs, Jets or Steelers?
Well, I would say that the Jets have the better chance to get into the playoffs because all they got to do is win.
They're playing the Bills. The Steelers are playing the Browns.
Now, with that being said, which game is easier? Steelers-Browns. That's an easier game. Although the Browns do play the Steelers tough.
And the Bills did beat the Jets on Thursday night earlier this year in the colorblind game.
There's a lot of mystery up in the air with this whole situation here. So it's very interesting. It's going to be very exciting. The Browns did not play the Steelers close at all. The Jets did play close to the Bills even though they lost.
However, Johnny Manziel's been playing better since he came back on this 4-game stint.
And he has gone a little bit better right now. So it's very... very hard. I honestly say this one's about as close to flip a coin as you can get in the NFL because the Jets are going to have trouble with the Bills and the Steelers are probably going to win this game against the Browns.
Do you think that Bill Belichick did what he did this last week with the coin toss to play some mind games with the Steelers and say, you know what, if we lose, we don't have to see the Steelers in the playoffs?
No. Bill Belichick tries to win games. He doesn't make risks like that.
Does he? That's why we're not going to put the ball in arguably the best quarterback in the league this year.
No,
him and Cam Newton.
That seemed more just bad communication and confusion.
Like a puss? Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, that seemed to me more like they just didn't know what was going on.
You met Beckett. I want the ball and we're going to score.
No, you don't say we're going to score because then you don't score.
We want the ball and we're going to score.
I'm going to throw the ball to a guy who scores. That's what's going to happen.
Al Harris who picked that off too. But no, with me, I kind of like this Jets team. And the reason being is, hey, Ryan Fitzpatrick has reinvented himself with the Jets this season. And, I mean, I think it's Chan Gailey, who's the offensive coordinator with the Jets. He worked with them when they were both in Buffalo. Hey, you know what? He's doing good things. He's being a quarterback, and it doesn't hurt when you got Brandon Marshall out there catching footballs.
Yeah, anyone can be good with Brandon Marshall out there being Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall was on a mission to prove to the Chicago Bears organization that he should not have been traded, and he's making a very good point.
Hey, I made that exact statement too. I want to say I was talking to Brandon or something where it was just like, hey, you know what? Should the Bears have not traded Brandon Marshall?
Well, hindsight's great and all that.
It's 2020.
And Kevin White's hurt, so that really is what does it. If Kevin White was there, actually healthy, maybe we wouldn't care. Maybe it would be the same thing. Who knows? But with the way things are, Chicago might be going, wish we had that other wide receiver
and
right
I think with Chicago, the reason why it's like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have traded B. Marshall is because Kevin White's been injured.
Yeah, because if he was healthy,
you forget about him.
We assume that he's going to play well enough.
The way it reminds me is when you dump that girlfriend and then you get a new one, and then it's like, okay, everything's great. I forgot the old one because I'm with the new one kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, the girlfriend's injured, so you haven't had that relationship, and all you're doing is thinking about the old one. Because Alshon hasn't been Alshon this year.
Oh, for sure. Well, he's been hurt. He's been hurt the majority of the season, essentially.
But no, I think the Jets for me, because, I mean, the Chiefs are already in, and that's another thing we can get into is if the Chiefs win and the Broncos lose, Chiefs are the 3, Broncos are the 5.
Yeah. And that's going to help the Chiefs out quite a bit.
And the Chiefs would be, I want to say, the first team to lose 5 straight and then go off on a tangent to where they, win 10 or 11 games?
I think making the young quarterback, Brock Osweiler, an experienced quarterback, play more playoff games.
He proved himself, though, on Monday night.
On the road,
he proved himself against the Bengals, though.
Sure.
I mean, it was a home game, but he proved himself.
But having a quarterback go into the playoffs and play road games, play more games, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be hard for him. Yeah, the Broncos aren't getting a bye no matter what. But at least to be on the road, that's going to help out.
Okay, the Broncos can still get first. If they win and both the Bengals and Pats lose, they're number 1 in the AFC. So they can still get number 1, they can still get number 2, they can still get number 3, or they can get number 5 if they lose.
Yeah.
But if they lose and the Chiefs lose, they're number 3 for sure. And the team that, because Brock the Cock-a-doodle-doo, got to throw that out there, he proved something to me last night on Monday Night Football where I'm sitting there in overtime, and part of me was rooting for the tie, Mark. The reason why is if the tie happened, Texans win the South, Colts are eliminated. Bye-bye, kiss of death in full effect. That's what I want. I want the kiss of death to be finite. Ricky Widmer ruined your season before it started. However, the team that I have the most questions about going into the playoffs, the Bengals. This is a team that could still get home field throughout if they win and the Patriots lose. However, they need Andy Dalton back for the playoffs if they want to change their playoff fortune.
Oh, for sure. And, A.J. McCarron supposedly has a sprained wrist, too.
He's done okay in the stopgap, but he's not the answer in the playoffs.
Well, especially if he's got a sprained wrist. Yeah, he's definitely not going to do it. Then that's going to ruin, your future in the
Mark's
NFL.
sitting there going, Ricky, did you just hear what I said? I said he has a sprained wrist.
He's hurt, supposedly. Or it's just, a convenient excuse. But he's hurt.
Could be a convenient excuse.
Yeah, I'm sure it could. Just like Peyton Manning's been hurt for all this time. Convenient excuse to move on to Brock Osweiler.
Oh, if Brock loses the Monday night game, I totally agree with the ESPN guys. If they lost that game, then this game against the Chargers would have been Peyton. You're going out there no matter, we need you. No matter whatever you can give us, that's what you get.
The future's now, Ricky. The future has been now. It's been here since Brock the Cock started. It's been there ever since.
Well, and because you brought up Peyton Manning, I'm going to ask you a 2-part question.
All right.
Part 1, does Peyton Manning deserve a better send-off than he's getting this season because of everything that's happened? And 2, does this Peyton Manning season remind you a little bit of Brett Favre's last year in the NFL?
It doesn't really remind me of Brett Favre's last year, only...
Well, Brett Favre got destroyed week 16.
This, to me, honestly feels more like the organization has made the decision behind closed doors. Hey, we're moving on. We're going to let you...
kind of like the Colts.
Yeah, we're going to let you be injured. Even if maybe they didn't even have the conversation to Peyton, but we're going to let Peyton get injured. Not get, but be injured and be injured for this rest of the season. And we're just going to quietly move on and hope nobody notices.
If Brock loses week 17 this week, do you put Peyton in for the wild card?
No, you've already passed that up. Brock is your starting quarterback now. For next season, for the future, he's your guy.
So this is more of a Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers relationship with an actual teacher because Peyton Manning's going to teach Brock much like Brett Favre did. Brett Favre was like, just sit behind me, young man.
I don't know that Peyton Manning's doing all that much teaching, though, either.
Well, you had, who was it? I want to say it was Ware or whoever they had on from the Broncos defense on Monday night. Countdown, he said that Brock and Peyton are like brothers out there, and they're always talking and in practice, always sharing information.
And then Brock Osweiler tries to put his helmet on, and Peyton goes, no.
And Peyton goes, no, this is my throwing drills.
Patience, young Padawan.
Al Jazeera doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and to answer the question of does he deserve a better send-off, no, because he hasn't played well. He really has not played well. The Broncos organization, I think, are doing what an organization should. Saying, and this is funny, this is coming from a Chicago Bears fan where we got tons of shit for how we send off Brian Urlacher and even Lance Briggs. But it was, and Devin Hester.
Wasn't Lance Briggs, though, kind of a dick?
Oh, he was always a dick.
Okay.
A huge dick. I say that because he always seemed like the guy who just wanted money. That's what he always seemed like. But with that being said, the organization did what they should. They protected themselves as an organization and said, you know what? It doesn't matter that we have this Hall of Famer here. We are going to play whoever is going to win us games. Peyton Manning has done enough to win us most of these games, but he doesn't seem like the guy who's going to go and win us a Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
Brock the Cock, at least he's got the ability to get excitement in there. It's something new. Maybe he can Tom Brady this.
The last thing I want to talk about with the playoffs, and this moves over to the NFC a little bit. Before we move over to the NFC, I just want to mention Patriots can lose. If they lose, they can lose home field advantage. There, I said it. But in the NFC, we already know the 6 teams that are going to be there. However, and I told you before we hit the record button, Mark, that I was going to throw this out.
Okay.
Me as a Vikings fan,
Yeah.
if the Cardinals beat the Seahawks, 3:25 start Chicago time, if they beat the Seahawks in Arizona, I'm going to kind of be rooting for the Packers on Sunday Night Football. And you may be sitting there and some Viking fans may have already thrown something at the wall or disowned me as a Vikings fan.
As you should.
But here's my reasoning. The reason why is if the Cardinals win, the Vikings have 2 situations that can happen. We can either beat the Packers in Lambeau, which would be great. However, then we got to play Seattle at home. I'm sorry. I've read that book. I know how it ends.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to lose that game.
Then, or we lose to the Packers and go on the road and play Do You Like That? I like that a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Redskins are
Kurt.
a safer team.
Kurt, I like that a lot better. However, if Seattle wins, then I'm rooting for the Vikings because then I'd rather have a home playoff game than go back to Lambeau.
Yeah, but the Redskins, too, they've been scoring pretty well. They haven't had a problem scoring points. And I know that the Vikings have kept teams low scoring, but Kirk Cousins has not had an issue to score, especially with, Jordan Reed, the guy who I say is not unstoppable. He is unstoppable. We all know that.
Well, I just feel like out of all the playoff teams, the Redskins are the weakest.
Yeah.
Let Seattle and Green Bay beat each other up in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. Let that happen.
But at the same time, it is dangerous because you've already lost to the Seahawks, you've already lost to the Cardinals, you've already lost to the Packers.
However, I feel like we can. The thing with the Cardinals is if we get to go back, and here's the thing, it plays out like this. Then let's say the Seahawks beat the Packers. Well, they're the 6th. They get to go play Carolina. We'd get a rematch with the Cardinals. We can beat the Cardinals. It was a close game. The Cardinals beat us. It was a great Thursday night game.
It was closest of the games that you've lost.
Yes, but we can beat them. I know we can beat them if Teddy Two Gloves doesn't fumble.
I just feel like you're on a good streak right now for the Vikings. You
Don't
beat the
mess that
Bears
up by
really well.
losing.
You beat the Giants extremely well. You lose to the Packers, you lose all that momentum, and you're skidding into the playoffs. And I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to go in with your heads up high, feeling like you're on top of the world, feeling like you are an actual team that can go to the playoffs and win games.
But can we beat Seattle at home? I know they don't have
Probably
Thomas
not.
Rawls in this one. They had Thomas Rawls the last time.
Yep. You probably can't.
But Doug Baldwin torched us.
38-7.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not feeling good.
And that's why I would take the loss. I would actually, if I know Mike Zimmer's not going to do this, and I know you're going to say it messes up momentum, but if the Cardinals win, I'm sitting the starters. I'll sit the starters, throw everyone out there. I will take my chances with the Redskins.
No, I don't like that move.
I would take my chances with the Redskins and save my starters.
Here's one thing that scares me about your Vikings, Ricky. Yes, they've got a good defense. They don't let teams score on them that often. Yeah, they got one of the best, running games, but that passing game is one of the worst in the NFL. That's what scares me.
So we need a wide
team.
receiver in the draft. And here's the one thing I'm throwing out there, and this is for all you Viking fans that are like, this is paining you to listen to this because I am a Vikings fan. This is me as my fandom.
Are you a Vikings fan, though?
I'm talking it out to you guys. I am literally talking what's going on in my head with you guys. And here's the only thing I can think of, and this would be a win-win for Vikings fans. Or do we say, fuck it, let's just win the North, and whatever happens in the playoffs happens?
That's what you should
do. Then we can say we won the North and carry that into next season. That's how I should feel.
Yeah.
But me, I've got these grand gestures of a Super Bowl.
Remember,
I'm trying to Chip Kelly master plan it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Remember, Cub fan, be like the Bears. Our season is a joke. It's a waste. It's a wash. Whatever. But we beat the Packers.
But the Vikings don't have Jake Arrieta.
Lambeau.
We don't have a Jake Arrieta.
We beat the Packers in Lambeau. Nothing else matters.
Do you think Jake Arrieta could play quarterback?
Probably.
Or would he be a wide receiver like Jeff Samardzija?
He would throw that ball real fast. He's going to hurt some hands out there,
Kind of like Brett Favre.
Yeah.